Hey guys, welcome back to the Hillside Garden. I'm with you live from the front porch today with just a little bit of a talk. So, way back in December when I first started this channel, on December 21st, which was the first day of winter or the longest night of the year, I planted a few seeds, just kind of symbolically talked about how, every day there's going to be a little bit more sunlight, we're looking forward to spring, those kind of things. Well, something occurred to me the other day. June 21st, first day of summer, is actually the first day that we start losing sunlight. So we're starting to approach that fall. And I know we all get into the habit, the spring, everybody's planting seeds, everyone's digging their soil up, they're composting, whatever they're doing, just trying to get stuff ready. But when it comes to the summer, we're always so busy doing vacations, you got kids out of school, all these kind of things. This is a good time for you to start planting seeds as well. And by that, I mean, start planting for your fall garden. Now, in order to do this, you need to understand when your first frost is going to be, or when the weather starts cooling down too much to really start producing things in the garden, depending on your environment. Where I live, it's about October 20th to 23rd. We get that first frost of the year. It's going to start killing off some of your more tender plants, some of your more frost tolerant plants like your brassicas, your cabbages, collards, things like this. They actually get better with the slight frost. So, those are things to plan for. However, I'm doing a couple experiments this year. This year, my garden's all about doing experiments, trying to push the limits of starting things early with the winter sowing. And this year, I'm also going to try the extending the season with some fall crops, which I always do. But this year, I'm going to do a little bit of a different approach to it. So with that being said, what are some things you can plant in the middle of summer? Well, right here I have some cucumbers, which I forgot I even had. So these are Market More 76 cucumbers. I'm going to plant some of these today. It takes about 68 days till germination. 68 days to harvest. So being June, that'll give me sometime in August, right? Well, all of July, all of August, probably around September. We're having a good solid month of warm weather. Hopefully around Labor Day, get some cucumbers. So I've never planted cucumbers late in the summer, so I'm not sure how the decreasing sunlight may or may not affect that. So that's something else to keep in mind. I also have some Landreth Stringless Beans. I did plant some of these earlier in the spring. They're doing great. They're actually flowering now. However, I'm going to plant some of these late. I'm thinking they're about 68, 65 days, something like that, till the harvest. So look at the same September time frame. And your beans are going to do so much better in the summer anyways than trying to plant them early in the spring, because the cold weather really does slow down the development of beans. They are, believe it or not, a tropical, native plant to this more southern, like Mexico and Caribbean places like this. So they're really going to enjoy that warm weather. Something else interesting, and these are old seed packets I found. So I planted a bunch of these seeds because I'm not sure how viable they may or may not be, but these are just Roma, your regular Roma red paste from White Harvest Seed Company. So it said it's going to take 65 to 75 days to get tomatoes. Perfect. So that's looking the same July, August. Yeah, September, we're looking about September, early September. Hopefully all these things are going to start maturing at the same time. That being said, these are determinate tomatoes. So if you're going to plant things late, at least this is my philosophy, we'll see if it works out or not. A determinate tomato will put on a large flush of fruit all at once, and then it's going to be done producing and the plant's going to die off. So this is really good for commercial harvesters, people like that. They can come in with their machinery or whatever, and they'll be able to harvest everything all at once, not have to worry about the staggered progression of an indeterminate tomato, like we'll pick one today, in a couple of days to be another ripe one, and it'll continue all the way to the frost. Which that's just fine for a home gardener, because you don't want to be inundated with just a giant amount of tomatoes all at once. So going back to my point here, with a determinate tomato like this Roma, like I said, the early September, mid-September, we're going to get that big flush full of fruit ripen all at once, and then it's going to be done, and I'll be able to harvest it, and the plant will be taken care of. But if I had an indeterminate tomato, it's going to continue ripening and ripening. At least in my opinion, you're not going to get as much production planting it this late in the season, because I'm trying to get that last bang, that last shot of tomatoes, but it'll all ripen all at once, right towards end of fall, boom, okay? Because when the temperatures start cooling off, you're going to get less daylight. these tomatoes that are indeterminate are going to start slowly fading out as all your tomatoes, even if you plant them early, you start getting towards September, October, they're faded out anyways. You may get a couple very late in the season, depending on where you live. You know, you have to adjust the time frame for a lot of you guys. So if you live up north, you may not have enough time. Maybe June 25th, whatever today is, I think 26th. It may not be enough time for you to do this because you just run out of time. So you may need to start your summer late last ditch gardening effort. Maybe that needs to go bring it back to Memorial Day. Maybe June's the time you're gonna have to, because you start getting frost in late August, September, or mid-September, depending where you live. Maybe North Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, northern tier states. You know, winter comes sooner for you than it does for us in the Mid-Atlantic, Appalachian region. So that's to keep in mind. Now, what you wouldn't want to do, at least in my opinion, again, and like I said, this is all going to be some banging around. Something you need to take into effect here is these are some carrots, just some Danvers half-longs, just a standard package. These are some Georgia collards. Those are awesome. I love those. We have some turnips and some arugula. Now, these crops, the collards being maybe the exception, do not like to grow in extremely high humidity. They're just not going to do well. And with the arugula, if you plant it now, you're probably going to get the plants bolting within 30 days. And that means it's going to prematurely start setting flowers, go to seed. You're not going to get any produce from it. So these can actually need to be timed to coincide with your frost date. So with the turnips, it says 50 to 60 days to harvest. Well, if I plant them now in the hot temperature, they're either going to be woody, they're going to be not produce any roots. The taproot or the bulb, whatever, is just not going to form. You might get some leaves out of it, which is fine, because if you want the turnip greens, there are certain varieties that are designed to grow predominantly for the leaves and not to produce the bulb. But even that, I think, might still try to trigger a bolting reaction from the lower, the daylight diminishing per day, plus the high temperatures. It's going to trigger that, say, hey, we need to produce some seeds. Fall's coming. At least that's how I interpret it, right? But with the collards, you can probably get away with planting some of these into the summer. You probably won't get bolting as much because they are more heat tolerant. But the carrots as well, 70 days to harvest. And with the collards, turnips, carrots, and arugula, as the cooler weather sinks in, they're actually going to taste better. Your carrots are going to be sweeter, your turnips leaves are going to be sweeter, and your turnips are going to be much, much sweeter. That being said, these three crops right here actually do better after they get a slight frost. You know, some people will tell you, hey, you don't even pick your collards till they've been kissed by the frosts. You know, you get that first little light frost of the season, nothing that's going to kill the plants off. You don't want a hard freeze or some snow or anything, which tends to ruin a lot of gardening plans along the way. But yeah, so time it backwards. So these are actually too early for me to plant for the fall garden. So I'm going to wait till probably mid to late August. You know, give it at least another month and a half, 2 months before I plant these for that actual traditional fall harvest of actually some cooler weather triggering better results. So there you go, guys. Just a little bit of an update of what's kind of going on here at the Hillside. Hope you guys are enjoying your summer, and take some time to plant some more seeds. You know, just because it's summertime doesn't mean you can't plant anything. Don't get in the habit of only planting things early in the springtime and then just forgetting about everything. And then maybe something happens, you're like, oh wow, it's starting to get cool, I need to try to plant something towards the very end of the season, when you may not have enough time for the plant to really reach that maturity. So hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of idea what you can and can't do in the summertime. I will, of course, give you some updates on how my summer sown vegetables will have turned out. And then, of course, whenever it comes around to planting some of my later season crops when the weather starts to break a little bit, I'll bring you along for that as well. So if you guys have ever planted any seeds late in the season, or have any experience growing in the summer with some new seeds or some new varieties, different ideas, drop a comment below. We can talk about it. It's all about sharing knowledge and learning from one another. So there you go, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time from the Hillside. Thanks for watching.